Hey everyone, thank you so much for tuning in tonight. I wish we could see each other face to face, but we have something really special planned. A few of our leaders are sitting down, sharing what's on their hearts, and going over a few topics that I think would be really helpful during this quarantine. So make sure to take some notes. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and also follow us on Instagram for daily encouragements, inspirations, testimonies, stories, all the good stuff. All right, let's hop right into it.
That's actually true. How do you guys keep yourself occupied? What do you guys do?
During quarantine? I started reading books. I usually hate reading books. I actually hate reading books. But then Rob was talking about a really good book in class called Jesus Freaks. And it was about martyrs for Christ. So I started reading that. Borrowed it from somebody. And then after that, I ordered about 5 books about martyrs for Christ, and I've been reading those. I play a lot of piano. I cook. It's a good time.
More time reading the Word too, and I never done this before, but I'm like studying different like topics, because usually I just like read like a bunch of stuff.
For the Bible, right?
Yeah. Through the Bible. Sorry.
No, history, science.
No, like topics like.
School's out.
Yeah, just like random topics. It's fun. So yeah.
Spend a few hours every day editing for the Alethea Instagram, and then piano a lot. I have 2 guitars in my room and I play them like every 2 weeks. Played them once this quarantine. So baking, cooking, and a lot of time in the Word. I completely restarted it, highlighted it. It looks like a Christmas tree.
It's completely white.
Part. It'll look like a Christmas tree.
Soon.
I haven't finished reading the Bible completely. And Matthew. It's decked out. Anyways.
I have a guitar. I look at it. My days consist. Sometimes I'll work. Sometimes I'll go like meet up with someone one-on-one just to like try to stay within the body. Sometimes I'll FaceTime people, call people, do something around the house because my mom puts me to work. And then I'll pray. That's exactly what I'll do. I'll pray forever. Right? Because that's all we have to do. Pray and read the Bible. Yep, that's pretty much it. Because we're just but in reality, that's actually with that. It's actually kind of crazy after quarantine. I noticed like where your mind goes, and to me right away it's like you're always like in this moment like you have to go place church, work, school, and like try to hustle. But after the whole quarantine thing started, I kind of got into a place like dang, my mind's like really not like instead of going to like the quarantine started my first thing like go hang out with friends, go do something, go play sports, go play tennis, and instead of like when you're not allowed to do that, it was like okay, how about now? Like what am I thinking about now? What am I gonna fill my time with now? Because we're humans, we have to do something. You can't just like watch shows all day. Like you could, but you shouldn't. You guys got the same thing, like or?
Yeah, you actually mentioned that in your Devo.
I did.
Yeah, it's actually crazy. I realized that too. It's like after, like we have like such a pattern-filled life. Like you're at church every day at 7 p.m. and then on Sundays also at 9 a.m. And it's just coming out of that and you're at home all day. I started like losing my marbles. I was like, I need to see people and drive in my car. But yeah, I started, obviously reading the Bible a lot, and it's crazy. Like my notebook is just like getting filled so fast. It's like I've started just to see things that like I've never seen before, and like I'm like wrecked every time I like come out of my room and my makeup. I mean not my makeup. My face is like all red, and then I go and have breakfast. Yeah.
Personally, I realize how much right now how much Christians are exposed. Like even for me, how much I was exposed. Because like for me, I was always running around 24/7 to church practices, like literally at church, basically all day. But yeah, it was crazy how like when we have all that time on our hands, where it can go in a sense. And, like for me, I actually shared this today during the Instagram live, but I a while ago stopped watching like shows, TV, all that kind of stuff. I like made a promise to God, and I was like, this isn't filling my mind with good. It always ends in bad, so I'm not going to do it. And no movies, no nothing. Then quarantine happened, and I downloaded Netflix. So I started like, I could never get through a movie actually, but I started like watching stuff here and there. And later on in the day, I would like, there was time, it was time where I was supposed to read the Word. I was supposed to like whatever, secret place, prayer, all that good stuff. And I'm sitting there and I'm like, I don't want to. What's the point? Like, I don't want to do this right now. And I'm like, why am I thinking about these things? That doesn't make any sense. And right away the Holy Spirit's like, you're filling yourself with these movies, with these shows, with all these things. Like, of course this is what's going to come out. There's going to be no desire for me if you're filling yourself with basically garbage. But yeah, it was something I realized, and it's like, I don't know, crazy stuff.
You guys want to actually, you guys want to get on the topic of temptation with that
I
being
was
said?
actually going to start that, but I was thinking about that the other day. It's like, it's so easy to turn on a movie or watch a show or, do anything besides spending time with the Lord, or even putting that before. Like, there's nothing wrong with obviously watching a movie here and there, but like, when that's your priority and that's like the first thing you think of, like when you wake up, that's when you have an issue. And so it's so easy to get like tempted, and obviously like what you fill your mind with is like what your life is going to portray.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So it's something that I had to like realize for myself within the first week of like quarantine. I completely deleted everything, and kind of forced myself to get into the habit of like, this is life,
Yeah.
live by that. So.
What do you guys think about, what do you guys think, like, what do you guys think about people that, instead of like movies or stuff like that, but are actually going with like real life struggles, maybe whatever type of temptation there is, but like especially in this time where you're constantly at home and maybe those temptations come back, what can you give, like, what advice can you guys give to those people?
For me, I found this verse today. It says, walk in the Spirit and you shall not fulfill the lust of the flesh. That was the only way that I got through my temptation.
Mm-hmm.
I was tempted in like lust and like pornography and all that so badly. The only way that I got through it was walking by the Spirit, was spending time with God, because you don't have a desire for it anymore. Temptations will come, but every time when that temptation comes, you either choose that temptation, you choose to fulfill that sin, or you choose to look away from it and you choose to look at God.
Yeah.
And every time you look at God, for me, it got a little easier and easier and easier.
Mm-hmm.
And so every time that temptation would pop up, I would already know this is the decision. It's either life or death. Sin is death, and He's life. And every time that's the only way I overcame it. Spending time in the secret place, walking by the Spirit, that's the only way.
The best way to avoid falling into temptation is to make like a huge loop around it. Like, don't walk close by the gap and like fall into it. If you're tempted, like Leah said, by lust and pornography, like, don't fill your mind with things that show that, or like, who knows, whatever it may be. Like, don't fill your mind with things that only kill your spirit.
Yeah.
Because we are in the flesh. We will always have temptations. We will always have struggles. But as long as we live by the Spirit, like, the sin will be crouching at our door, but we have to rule over it, like it says in Genesis. Like, we have that power and authority over the sin and over anything Satan tries to like put in our mind. And so that's what I've been like living by and realizing like recently again in this quarantine. Such a healthy time, I'm really honest. Like, it revealed so much about myself. But yeah. So
There's a verse I can add on to that. It's in Hebrews 16. It says, therefore let's draw near with confidence to the throne of grace, so that we may receive mercy and find grace to help in the time of need. And even before this, it talks about how Christ, he was a man, and he sympathized us as a man because he went through the same temptations and same struggles that we went through. And it's interesting how it says, like, when it comes to temptations, you have to, like, whatever the temptation may be, you have to book it out of there to where God wants you to be. And that's in a place where God is, and in a place where only God can supply you and nourish in those like specific areas that you're struggling. So I think even with this quarantine, and our time is like always like focused on like what to do next. Like, keep your mind focused on like the things above. Keep your mind focused on what God can do in your life, and not what the devil can do, and not what your own flesh desires can do. In a place where you're in the Spirit, how Leah said as well.
I think a lot of people get tricked up at the place where it's like the more you spend time with God, the less tempted you will be to do other things. But in reality, the more you grow in God, the more Satan will want to attack you.
Yeah.
And so if you're being tempted more and more, it's like, it's not that you're falling into your sin or that you're living in a pattern of like sinning constantly, and falling into your temptation, but it's like simply like you're seeking God more, so continue to seek God more, and you like as you seek, you will have more strength to overcome things that you're struggling with.
And that goes hand in hand with what Leah says. Just walking in the Spirit, literally hand in hand. Because as you walk in the Spirit, you don't have, like, gives no room for darkness to come into that. And it'll be a place when darkness will try to like, I think the devil recognizes the moments when we walk with the Spirit, and he'll just try to clash at you with those things.
Yeah.
But you continue to walk in the Spirit, knowing that you're righteous, knowing that you're holy, knowing that you're in the right stand with God and what you have as an heir of Christ, and you walk in the Spirit, walking in victory, walking in truth, walking those things where your mind, even in that place where your mind is filled with the thoughts of God, and you continue to go, and that's how you find victory.
Yeah.
Especially in this time where we're in, dude. Like, really, that's like the best thing you can do. Like,
One thing that actually kind of blows my mind is about the story about Solomon, where it's like this guy, the wisest man on earth, spends time in the Lord's presence, talks with God, built his temple, and still, by disobeying God, he fell into his temptation. Like, he stepped away from that. Like, even though he was wise and God gifted him so many things, he chose to step away from God. And as soon as we make that decision, like, Satan comes and grabs us. Like, that's the thing. It's like, you have to stay on the word. You have to, like, make that your priority. Like, fall in love with God, because if you don't love God, you will hate reading the word. Like, it's going to get so boring. It gets so dry. But, like, when you truly, like, love the Lord and have, like, honestly, like, have feelings for him, he begins to show and reveal himself more and more. And you just grasp the word more, and you get more revelations. And it's just, honestly, nothing beats it. Like, no movie, no show, nothing. So.
true. Have you seen All American?
I haven't. I've been reading the word.
Even with like temptation, there comes to a place where you can be accountable to someone.
Yeah.
There are people that are in your life. There are people that care for you. People that you can come up to be like, hey, this is what's going on in my life, and you just open up to them. Because I remember the first time I opened up to someone, I think I cried. It was so hard, and it's because like you live your life like little kids, think you're like the only one in the entire world that is going through anything, and then like you open up, and you feel like you're giving like your whole heart out.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, you'd be surprised how many people go through the same thing.
Oh yeah.
Like, that's what I've literally, like, been seeing after, like, reading so many testimonies through Instagram. It's like, so many people, I mean, this is life. I mean, everybody gets tempted. It's not anything to be ashamed of, because Satan is real, God is real, you know, sin is real. It's all there, so reach out.
yeah. Even with that being said, you see how every, I'll say, not major, but every man of God, there's always someone that has someone they can go through. For example, Joshua had Moses. David, it wasn't David and Saul, but man, Elisha had Elijah. There are people.
Jesus had God.
True, that's a good one.
Man, there's so many people that you can see it over and over. Timothy had Paul, and you can see how there's always this person that's in your life that can come to you and like they teach you. They make sure you're in sound. They make sure your doctrine is right. They make sure that what you're doing, what you're saying, is in the right path. Because I think I can say this from my life as growing up here in church and being a teen and getting put in this place like you're serving people right away. Some things I said, some things I did is always in the place where I served other people, but I failed to open up my life to other people to pour into me.
Yeah.
And I realized that in moments where I did that, that's where I had the most growth. Like right now, from learning from my past experience, I have people that just know everything about my life, about the way I'm walking my period, the way I'm walking in my way with God, how much time I spend with God, like what I'm doing throughout my day, just so they can keep me accountable to that. And I've seen how it's produced growth. There's always that place where I can, and it's God provided like where.
Yeah, that was a huge thing for me. I think I had a lot of pride in the fact that like I don't need a mentor because I have the Lord, but that was a big thing. But basically, there was like, even with sin, when you have someone to be accountable to, you expose that sin to the light, and sin can't stand in light. And like that took me, honestly, it was God given, like people placed into my life, older one placed into my life, and I was able to go to those people, and even when I did, like the things that I went through, they went through. It literally went hand in hand. It was crazy. But yeah, a big thing for me was like humbling myself, because I didn't have like a mentor or someone to keep myself accountable to. That's when I would fall into deception or things in the word, I would translate them completely wrong. I had nobody to correct me. I had nobody to stand by my side and, show me my wrongs, because I thought, oh, whatever, God's got me. But yeah, it's a crazy big thing to have someone accountable to.
I think that includes life group too. Having a mentor and then life group. Those are two things that, like, especially now that we don't have church services anymore, like, FaceTime like your friends, FaceTime, or have like a Zoom call with like your entire life group, however big it is. Because even in Ecclesiastes 4 it says, for if they fall, one will lift up his companion.
Yeah.
But woe to him who is alone when he falls. Yeah. And then it talks about like the 2 people, and then it says a 3-fold cord is not quickly broken.
Yeah.
So like the more people, like the stronger you are, and like the harder. Join a life group. Be a mentor. Get a mentor. Be a mentor.
It reminds me of that scripture, and there's a scripture that says if one's like gone away, I can't remember exactly, but it says one gone away, that you who is spiritually well restore him. And it just shows that place where even how I brought it back, had this revelation that we talked about, a couple of us, but a place where we have there's the vine and the branches, and how even Alex kind of mentioned it in his devotional, but in the place where there's a vine and branches, and many times we have those branches, and there's sometimes that we can be in a place where a specific branch can be cut off, and it could be dry, it could be dead, but the fact that it's still bristling with us in the wind, and we're all good branches, but it hasn't fallen to the ground, and we think they're with us. We think that just because they're in the same seasons that we're in, we're producing fruit, but they're with us, and they're in the same camps, they're in the same church, they're in the same services. They might even be serving with us, but you can tell when there's a branch that's not producing fruit.
Yeah.
And in a place where we, as spiritual people, have to recognize this place where we can go into a place and even intercede for them, pray for them, restore them, talk to them. Maybe, and I think that's one thing with this whole body place, and that this whole body thing, like with quarantine as well, as like, where are you in the body? Are you one that's going to restore people, or are you one that needs like, hey, I need help, I need someone to come and touch me, or someone to come and just talk to me, someone that can pray for me, someone that can intercede for me? Because in reality, it's not all easy all the time. It's in every season, everyone goes through different things, and it's hard.
Yeah. I mean, if you think about it, that is ministry. Like being there for one another, helping somebody up. Like we talked about earlier, but like now that we don't have church services anymore, now that everybody's sitting at home, the only way we can really serve is like the people around us. So like our family, it's simply doing a little task for your parents, or running an errand, or being with your siblings, or even like life group, like, or a mentor, like being there for somebody and helping them up, because ministry itself is like, isn't a worship team, isn't being on a stage or being behind a mic. It's when you see somebody naked, you clothe them. When you see somebody hungry, you feed them. And I've been getting wrecked by that a lot, just because it's such a change of perspective on what ministry is, and just the way we've been living it and things like that. So yeah.
Sorry, there are people in the back. They waved at me. I couldn't be rude, not wave back.
Thanks so much for joining our discussion. Please like, subscribe, comment, share, and we can't wait to see you. We miss you guys. Bye.
I love it. That's great.